This is my story. It's not one I've shared with many, mostly because for a long time I carried shame. Shame about how far I went for love and how far love refused to go for me. But today I'm sharing it. Not just for me, but for every woman who gave her all and still got broken. My name is Miriam, and this is how it happened. We met at the grocery store. I had just moved to a new town for work. Everything felt unfamiliar. New routines, new friends, just silence and solitude. That day, I was reaching for a loaf of bread when I bumped into someone, literally. He laughed, helped me pick up what I dropped, and made a light-hearted joke about clumsiness and offered to walk me to my car. It was a small moment, but in my season of loneliness, it felt like light cracking through the dark. A few days later, I ran into him again. That turned into small talk, which turned into longer conversations, which turned into daily chats, and then into something more. He was charming, attentive, and warm. He made me laugh like no one else had in a long time. He remembered the little things, how I liked my coffee, the songs I played on repeat, the way my eyes lit up when I talked about my dreams. I began to imagine a future with him, a peaceful marriage, evenings on the couch, laughter over dinner, someone to share life with. And when he said he loved me, I believed him. A year into the relationship, we decided to make things official. We began preparing for the dowry ceremony. His family seemed supportive, even excited. Everything was in motion. But on the morning of the ceremony, he pulled me aside, looking visibly tense. He told me his client hadn't paid him on time, and that was the money he had been counting on to cover the dowry. He looked so embarrassed, so helpless. He said, I just need a little help. Once the money comes through, I'll refund you. I promise. My heart dropped. What was I supposed to do? The elders were already waiting. Guests were arriving. My parents were dressed and smiling, completely unaware. I was embarrassed, confused. This wasn't how I imagined this day. But I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I didn't want my parents to feel ashamed. So I dipped into my business savings, the money I'd worked so hard for, and handed it to him. Quietly, privately. No one, not even my family, knew. Later, when I asked about the refund, he changed the subject. Then he brushed it off. Eventually, he stopped acknowledging it altogether. And I stopped asking. After the dowry was paid, we moved in together. Technically, we were now husband and wife. I was hopeful. I thought, now we can build a life, grow in love. I put in effort, decorated the house, learned new recipes, made space for him and his routines. I wanted to be a good wife, a godly wife. But things started to shift. He came home late, spoke less, smiled even less. I would ask how his day was, and he'd mumble one word reply. He began taking calls in another room. His scent changed sometimes. His clothes carried perfume I didn't wear. I told myself maybe he was just stressed, maybe adjusting to marriage was harder for him, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. One evening, he left his phone on the couch and went to shower. I didn't plan to look, but then it lit up. A message preview, another woman. She called him my love and thanked him for a beautiful weekend. My heart stopped. I picked up the phone, my hands trembling. My mind rests. Was this real? Was I overthinking? I scrolled. Photos, voice notes, conversations that confirmed everything I was afraid to admit. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. When he came out of the bathroom, I showed him the screen. He didn't flinch. He just shrugged and said, You knew I wasn't perfect when you married me. And something in me shattered. But he didn't walk away right then. I tried. I fasted. I prayed. I cried myself to sleep. I cooked his favorite meals. I tried to initiate conversations. I apologized for things I didn't even do just to keep the peace. One day I called his mother. I thought maybe she'll talk to him. Maybe she'll remind him of his vows. But she just sighed and said, That's how men are. You can't expect one man to stick to one woman. Her words echoed in my chest like a cruel joke. I sat on my bed afterward, feeling numb. If this is what they believe, what chance do I even have? Maybe they had always known, and they let me walk straight into heartbreak with my eyes closed. By now, I had decided to leave, but I didn't have the courage. I was scared. Scared of what people would say, scared of being labeled impatient or disobedient, scared of being the woman who couldn't keep her marriage, especially after secretly paying my own dowry. I talked to a friend. I poured it all out, the cheating, the silence, the ache. She didn't judge. She didn't say, I told you so. She just held space for me. Then she looked me in the eye and said, Miriam, it's okay to leave. You don't owe anyone your suffering. Choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish, it makes you whole. That conversation changed everything. I went to therapy. At first, I didn't know what to say. I felt foolish, ashamed. I kept wondering if I was the problem, but week after week, I started to unravel the pain. I talked about the fear, the spiritual emptiness, how I couldn't focus at work, how I barely recognized myself. My therapist listened and then gently said, You've already made your decision in your heart. I'm not here to push you, but I want you to know that choosing peace isn't failure, it's strength. Leave before it costs you everything, including yourself. And slowly, I began to believe her. I didn't sneak away. I sat him down and said the words, This is over. He barely reacted, no remorse, just another shrug. And in that moment, I knew. He never really saw me, and he never really planned to love me well. That night, I packed a small bag, not everything, just what I needed to breathe again, and I left. No screaming, no drama, just silence and freedom. After I left, I kept going to therapy. Week by week, I peeled back the layers. I grieved, not just the marriage, but the woman I used to be, the girl who kept hoping, kept trying, kept breaking. I journaled, I prayed, I danced to worship music in my room and cried tears of surrender. I found joy again, not in someone else, but in myself. I didn't just heal, I came home to myself. People still ask me, Why did you leave? Some whisper behind my back, Why would she walk away after just 1 year? But they didn't see the nights I cried myself to sleep. They didn't feel the coldness in a house filled with broken promises. They didn't know I had already lost pieces of myself long before I left. And now I just smile because I chose peace before it was too late. I chose to live. I chose me. So, to every woman watching this, if you're breaking in silence, if you've given everything and still feel empty, please hear me. You're not a failure. You're not hard to love. And choosing yourself is not a crime. You are worth healing, worth peace, worth real love. And it's never too late to choose you. If this story touched you in any way, I'd love to invite you to subscribe. We just began this channel and your support would mean the world to me. I'm creating a space for healing, faith, and honest conversations, and I'd love you to be part of it.